Welcome to the world of science fiction Neon's Alien. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a new story from Neon's Alien universe. Smoke covered the alien sky. The air was thick with dust and the ground shook under the echo of explosions. Human diplomat Elliot Carter stepped through the burning ruins of the Zephyr Peace Summit with his heart pounding. His mission was supposed to be simple: just talk, make peace, sign papers. Instead, he walked into a war zone. Blasters fired from every direction. Alien guards yelled commands in a strange language. Buildings collapsed as missiles struck the palace walls. Elliot ducked behind a broken pillar, clutching the small translation device pinned to his chest. His only goal now was survival. Suddenly, he heard a scream, a high, panicked cry from the inner hall. Without thinking, Elliot ran toward the sound. Past broken doors and smoking statues, he found a tall alien woman trapped under fallen debris. She had deep violet skin that shimmered in the firelight, long silver hair braided in gold rings, and bright golden eyes filled with fear and rage. Royal armor covered her body, scratched and torn. 3 attackers in black armor closed in, their weapons raised. Elliot didn't hesitate. He grabbed a dropped plasma staff and charged. The aliens laughed, until Elliot jabbed one hard in the chest. He blocked another's attack with the staff and pushed him back. The third tried to shoot, but Elliot knocked the weapon away and kicked the attacker down. The fight was fast and rough, but somehow, he won. The woman stared at him, shocked. You saved me," she said through the translator. Her voice, soft but strong. Elliot helped her to her feet. "You're not hurt?" She looked at him with wide eyes. "I am Princess Alara of Zephyr." Before Elliot could say anything, she dropped to one knee before him, bowed her head, and said loudly, "By the ancient law of blood and bond, I offer myself to you. You have saved me in battle. I am yours." Elliot blinked. "Wait, what?" Then several alien nobles and guards rushed into the room. They saw the princess kneeling, Elliot standing above her, and the 3 defeated attackers on the ground. Gasps filled the air. One of the nobles stepped forward. "The ritual is done. She has spoken. The bond is made." "What bond?" Elliot asked, confused. The noble looked at him like he was stupid. "You saved the princess. You protected her life. That is the highest act of love and courage. According to Zephyrian law, she is now your bonded mate. You are her chosen." Elliot's face turned pale. No, I didn't agree to anything. I just helped her." Princess Alara stood and looked directly into his eyes. "Do you not accept me, human?" The entire room went silent. Everyone watched Elliot, waiting. He looked around, then stepped back. "Look, I appreciate the honor, really, but this is a misunderstanding. I'm just a diplomat. I'm not trying to marry anyone." Murmurs broke out. Some aliens looked shocked, others angry. Alara's eyes narrowed, not in anger, but curiosity. "You reject the bond," she said softly. Elliot nodded. "Yes, I mean, kindly, respectfully." The princess tilted her head and stared at him for a moment. "No one has ever said no to me," she whispered. Then she smiled. A small, amused smile. "Very well," she said. "You may go. For now." Guards stepped aside, letting Elliot leave. He walked out of the hall, still shaking from the fight and the strange proposal. His communicator buzzed. It was Earth Command. "Carter, what happened in there?" "I think I just got engaged to an alien princess." But as Elliot left the palace, Princess Alara watched him from a balcony. Her golden eyes followed his every move. "That human," she said to her advisor. "He said no. That makes me want him even more." Her voice was calm, but her expression was serious. "Prepare the guest wing," she said. "Your Highness?" the advisor asked. She smiled again, this time wide and dangerous. "If he won't accept me now, I'll make him want to. I always get what I want." And far above, in the orbiting news stations, footage of the fight and proposal had already started spreading across the galaxy. The story was clear. The human had won the heart of the Princess of Zephyr. and refused her. But no one had ever said no to her before, and she wasn't going to give up now. Elliot Carter thought the worst was over. He had left the palace, avoided the marriage, and was ready to return to Earth. His shuttle waited at the spaceport. The city still smoked from the recent attack, but peace talks were slowly restarting. He sat inside a guest room at the human embassy, sipping cold water and trying to forget the look in Princess Alara's golden eyes, a strange mix of curiosity and power. She wasn't angry when he said no. She looked interested. That scared him more than the fight. Suddenly the power went out. "Backup systems active," said the embassy AI. Elliot stood up, alert. Moments later, the doors burst open. 5 armored figures entered silently, Zelfarian royal guards. They weren't shooting, but they weren't friendly either. "You are requested at the palace," the leader said calmly. "I already told the princess. No thank you," Elliot replied. The guard stepped closer. "This is not a request." Before Elliot could argue, a sharp hiss of sleeping gas sprayed from the vents. His vision blurred, and the last thing he saw was the princess's royal symbol flashing on one of the guard's armor. He woke up hours later, lying on a bed of soft, glowing silk. The scent of sweet alien flowers filled the air. Strange music hummed through the room. Elliot sat up slowly and realized he wasn't in the embassy anymore. He was back at the palace. "Okay," he muttered. "Now this is kidnapping." Just then, the doors opened. Princess Alara entered. She wore flowing white robes this time instead of armor. Her long silver hair sparkled under the lights. She looked like royalty and trouble. "Good," she said. "You're awake. You gassed me and dragged me here. I escorted you. With care," she replied with a soft smile. "You are an honored guest." "Guests usually get a choice," Elliot said. She walked closer. "You said no to my proposal. That has never happened. Now I need to know why." Elliot blinked. "Because I don't even know you." Alara raised one eyebrow. "So you want to know me first?" "That can be arranged." He shook his head. "No, I mean, look, humans don't get married after one fight. We take time, we talk, we date." Alara paused, thinking. "We have something similar. Trials, challenges to show our strength, our hearts, our minds. If a suitor survives all trials, their intentions are true." Elliot frowned. "Okay, but why are you telling me this?" She gave him a knowing smile. "Because I have entered you into them. You will face them tomorrow." "What?" "No, absolutely not." But she was already walking away. "Wait," Elliot called after her. "I'm not agreeing to any The doors closed. The next day, Elliot was woken early and led to a massive arena. Thousands of aliens watched from crystal balconies. A deep voice echoed through the loudspeakers. Trial 1. The Test of Courage. Elliot stood at one end of the field. On the other side was a towering alien beast, 6 legs, 2 heads, and eyes like red fire. It roared, shaking the ground. "Nope," Elliot whispered. "I'm not doing this." But a hologram of Alara appeared beside him. "If you run, the people will see weakness. If you fight, they will see honor." Elliot looked at the beast, then at the audience, then back at her. "Fine, but after this you owe me answers." He grabbed the blunt spear they gave him and walked forward. The fight was wild. Elliot didn't try to kill the beast. Instead, he dodged, rolled, climbed its back, and finally tied its 2 heads together using its own chains. The crowd roared with laughter and applause. The trial master spoke. He did not slay the beast, but he outsmarted it. Accepted. Elliot stood in the middle of the arena, panting, and from above, Princess Alara clapped, with a strange look in her eyes. Later that night, Elliot sat alone in a golden chamber, bruised and tired. He stared at a note left on the table. "You fight like no Zelfarian. You think like no warrior. You may not want me, but I want you even more now. Alara." Elliot sighed. What have I gotten myself into? Outside, fireworks exploded. In the sky, The city was celebrating his victory, but inside his heart, Elliot felt trapped in a game he didn't understand. And deep within the palace, Alara spoke to her advisor in a cold, clear voice. He survived Trial 1. Make sure he's ready for Trial 2. This time, let's test his mind and his feelings. Elliot stood in front of a mirror dressed in strange alien robes. They were royal blue with sharp gold edges and a symbol of 2 stars crossing over a flame on the chest. It wasn't armor. It wasn't casual wear. It was ceremonial. He hated it. A voice spoke from behind the curtain. The princess awaits you in the trial chamber. You may begin your walk of honor. Walk of honor? Elliot muttered. More like a walk of confusion. The doors opened, revealing a long, glowing hallway lined with alien musicians playing soft, eerie tunes. Guards stood on each side, saluting him as he passed. At the end of the hall was another tall door, this one marked with a symbol he hadn't seen before, a heart split by lightning. He entered. Inside, the chamber was not an arena. It looked more like a giant library, filled with floating data cubes, glowing maps, and whispering voices that came from invisible speakers. A large glass table sat in the center, and across it sat Princess Alara. But this time she wasn't dressed for battle or royalty. She wore a simple white tunic and had no crown, no armor, just a small smile. "This is your second trial," she said calmly. "The trial of understanding." Elliot tilted his head. "What's that supposed to mean?" "You passed the trial of courage with your body. Now I want to see how your mind works, how your heart decides." The table between them came to life. A glowing screen appeared with holographic images, different alien races, past war reports, old royal decrees, and one blinking word, choose. Alara explained, "You will be shown 3 scenarios. Each one has no clear right or wrong. You must decide what to do. Your choices will tell me who you really are." Elliot sighed. "I work in diplomacy. I make hard choices every day." "Good," Alara said. "Then this should be easy." Scenario 1. A small alien tribe is starving after a mining disaster. You can give them food, but only if you take it from a nearby colony of your allies. That colony will lose supplies, possibly causing tension. Elliot stared at the options. Save one group by hurting another, or do nothing and let both suffer. He pressed, give food but explain everything to both sides. Build trust through honesty. Alara nodded slightly. Scenario 2. A rebel leader has taken hostages. You can stop him with a strike, but it may kill the innocent. Waiting may risk the leader escaping with the hostages forever. Elliot clenched his chores. He pressed, wait, risk the escape. Innocent lives matter more than winning. Alara's eyes narrowed, not in anger, but thought. Scenario 3. A young Zelfarian girl loves a human, but her father, a powerful general, threatens war if they unite. Do you support her love or avoid conflict and separate them? Elliot didn't hesitate. Support the girl. No one should be controlled by fear, not even for peace. When he made his third choice, the screen faded. Silence followed. Then Alara stood. You passed, she said quietly. Passed? Elliot asked. So this was a test, just for you to know what kind of guy I am? She stepped closer. No, it was a test to see if you could understand my world, my people, my heart. Elliot looked at her. And, do I pass your heart too? She paused. Not yet. But you're closer. Later that night, Elliot sat in the royal garden. It was quiet, filled with glowing plants and small floating lights. He finally felt like he had a moment to breathe. Then he heard footsteps. It was Alara. She sat beside him on the stone bench. Neither of them spoke for a moment. Then she asked softly, Why did you choose love over safety in the last scenario? Elliot answered without looking at her. Because I've lived in a world where love was often sacrificed for power or rules. And I've seen people break because of that. Love is rare. When it's real, you don't throw it away. She nodded. In my world, love is used as a weapon, a tool. But maybe with you, it could be something more. They sat quietly for a while. Then Alara said something that made Elliot freeze. You still don't want to marry me, do you? He turned to her. It's not about wanting, it's about knowing. I don't know you yet. Alara stood slowly and whispered, Then I will show you who I am. As she walked away, Elliot watched her, unsure if he was being pulled into a trap or something real. From the shadows, Alara's advisor watched them both and whispered into a hidden device. The trials are working, but so is she. The royal city of Zelfar glowed with color. Thousands gathered in the floating sky, plaza above the palace. This was the Festival of Bonds, a sacred event held only once every decade. Fire beasts danced in the sky. Music from 10 alien worlds echoed across the galaxy. It was a day for unity, for connection, and this time, all eyes were on one unusual guest, a human. Elliot stood beside Princess Alara at the edge of a golden balcony. Alien cameras hovered around them, broadcasting live to the Empire. He wore a ceremonial cloak, heavy with strange patterns and glowing threads. Alara stood tall beside him, looking calm and proud. But Elliot felt uneasy. This is too much, he whispered. Alara smiled gently. You passed 2 trials, Elliot. Today you will be honored. You deserve it. I didn't agree to be the center of a galactic love story, he muttered. But you are, she replied. A drumbeat boomed. The crowd below cheered. The announcer's voice echoed through the plaza. On this sacred day we witness the bonding flame. Let it show us the hearts that truly burn with fate. From the center of the stage, a tall relic rose. A tower of crystal flame, ancient and silent for over 300 years. It had never responded to any bonding ceremony in living memory. Alara stepped forward, turning toward Elliot. The crowd hushed. I know you still don't love me, she said, her voice echoing through the translator. Elliot looked at her, stunned. I know you didn't ask for this, but I want to show the people something. Not a lie, not a forced bond, but possibility. Then, without warning, she kissed him. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't wild. It was soft, calm, and full of silent questions. Elliot froze. The crowd gasped. The camera zoomed in. Across the galaxy, screens lit up with the same moment, and then it happened. The ancient flame roared to life. The crystal burned bright gold, then pulsed violet, the sacred color of true bond. The crowd erupted in awe. Gasps, cheers, disbelief. The relic had spoken. Elliot pulled back, eyes wide. What just happened? Alara's eyes were glowing faintly. She looked just as shocked. The flame accepted us. That hasn't happened in 3 centuries. A high priest stepped forward, bowing, deeply. By the will of the flame, your souls are marked. The prophecy of the twin flame is true. You are fated. Elliot backed away. No, I didn't ask for this. I didn't agree. Alara turned to him, her voice soft but steady. Neither did I. But something old, something deeper than law or trial has chosen. This is not a trap, Elliot. It's something real. Elliot looked around. The crowd cheered wildly. Songs began. Dancers spun through the air. But inside, Elliot felt trapped. Not by the people, not by Alara, but by something else, destiny. That night, Elliot sat in his private room, silent. The flame's glow still played in his mind. That kiss. It had done something. Not just to the crystal. To him. He didn't know what it meant. Then the door slid open. It was Alara. You shouldn't be here, he said. She walked in anyway. I wanted to apologize. I surprised you. That wasn't fair. He didn't respond. She sat beside him. The relic is not a machine. It doesn't react to lies or tricks. It reacts to something deep. Soul match, we call it. I didn't believe in it until now. Elliot finally looked at her. Why are you doing this? I'm just a human diplomat. You're a princess. You could have anyone. Alara laughed softly. That's the problem. I've had everyone. Every suitor bowed, lied, or tried to use me. You told me no. You fought. You challenged me. And even now you don't want power or control. You just want truth. She stood slowly. If you truly want to leave, I won't stop you. Not anymore. He looked at her quiet. Then he asked, what if I stay? She froze. I don't know. What this flame means, Elliot continued. I don't know if this is fate or just some crazy alien magic. But I felt something too. During that kiss, Alara's voice trembled. If you stay, I will not ask for marriage. I will ask for time. To truly know you. Elliot stood, and for the first time, he kissed her. No flames lit up this time, but something just as powerful sparked between them. Choice. Elliot stared out the palace window, watching the twin moons of Zelphur rise slowly above the glowing spires. The night was beautiful, but his heart was a storm. The kiss, the flame, the people cheering his name. It all felt like a dream. One he didn't ask for. He touched the collar of his robe, still wearing the symbol of bonding. Alara had not pushed him since the ceremony. She had kept her word. No more pressure. No more surprises. But the galaxy didn't care what he wanted. Messages flooded the human embassy. Earth's media called him the human prince. Alien markets sold toys with his face on them. One alien child called him Papa Flame in a video that went viral across star systems. It was too much, and so he made a plan. At midnight, Elliot quietly left his room. No guard stopped him. Perhaps Alara had ordered it, or perhaps they truly believed he wouldn't leave. He made his way through secret tunnels a servant had told him about earlier, hidden routes that royal guests weren't supposed to know. Every step felt like a betrayal, but freedom called louder than guilt. He reached the outer courtyard where a small shuttle waited. An old pilot, paid in silence and favors, saluted him. Earthbound, the pilot asked. Elliot nodded. Just take me far from this city. As the engines started, Elliot looked back at the palace one last time. He didn't know why, but his chest ached. And somewhere high in the tower, Princess Alara stood silently on her balcony, watching his ship disappear into the stars. She said, nothing. 2 weeks passed. Back on Earth, Elliot returned to the diplomatic center. The familiar sights of green trees, stone buildings, and human voices gave him comfort, but also a strange emptiness. His friends welcomed him as a hero, asking about the bonding ceremony. Some joked about him becoming king of an alien empire. Others asked if the flame was just a trick. Elliot smiled, laughed, played along, but at night he couldn't sleep. He thought of her, Alara, her laugh, her strength, the way she looked at him, not like a tool or a trophy, but like someone who mattered. He thought of the flame. What if it really meant something? On the 15th day, Elliot received a message, encrypted, direct from Zelphur. She has been attacked. Assassins from within the High Court. She lives, but barely. Your name was the last thing she spoke. It hit him like a shockwave. He stood, frozen, staring at the screen. A second message followed. No one dares intervene, but if you come, she may survive. Her bond with you gives you the right to stand by her bed. He didn't think twice. He packed his bag. Within hours, Elliot was back on a transport ship racing toward the stars. But this time, he wasn't running away. He was coming back. Not because of duty, not because of destiny, but because something inside him screamed, "Don't let her die alone." The palace was quiet when he arrived. Guards nodded but said nothing. Word had already spread. The human has returned. Elliot walked into the royal chamber where a team of alien healers stood over the princess's bed. Alara lay pale, her silver hair unbraided, her breathing weak. Faint lights moved across her skin, tracking her slow healing process. One of the healers looked at Elliot. "You have 10 minutes." He walked to her side, unsure what to say. "Alara," he whispered. Her eyes fluttered slightly. She opened them, just barely. "You came back," she breathed. "Of course I did," he replied. "You think I'd let you win the flame ceremony and die before proving me wrong?" She gave the tiniest smile. "I knew you'd come," she said softly. "That's why I let you go." He touched her hand. "I didn't understand what the flame meant until I left," Elliot said. "But now I do. It wasn't fate choosing us. It was something inside us already burning. We just didn't see it." Alara blinked slowly. "Do you see it now?" He nodded. "Yes, I see you. And I'm not going anywhere." Later that night, as the moons rose again, the city buzzed with whispers. The human had returned. The bond had not broken, and love had brought him back. The halls of the royal palace were no longer safe. Elliot stood beside Princess Alara's bed as strange shadows moved through the corridors. Assassins had already attacked once. They might return. The healers whispered about poison. Some of the guards looked nervous. The traitors weren't outsiders. They were inside the palace, hidden in robes behind smiles. Alara was still weak, barely awake. Her breathing had steadied, but her skin had lost its violet glow. She was alive, but fading. And Elliot couldn't wait anymore. He paced back and forth until the chief healer stopped him. "You must move her," the old alien said in a gravel voice. "The poison is rare. Our medicines slow it but cannot cure it. There is only one hope." "What is it?" Elliot asked. "The spring of Telnar," the healer said. "Hidden in the caves beneath the storm mountains, sacred waters that break the poison. But only royalty can pass the mountain's gate." Elliot looked at Alara, unconscious and fragile. "Then I'll carry her," he said. "She's royalty, that should be enough." The healer looked at him with ancient eyes. "No one has made that journey in 100 years. "Then I'll be the first human who does." That same night, under moonless skies, Elliot placed Alara gently into a travel pod, cloaked to hide from drones. With only one loyal guard and a flying skimmer, they left the city quietly, like thieves, like fugitives. They passed burned-out villages, silent plains, and broken statues from old wars. Finally, they reached the base of the Storm Mountains. The wind howled like wild beasts. Lightning cracked above them. The skimmer couldn't fly any higher. Elliot had to climb, with her. He wrapped Alara in layers of thermal shields and strapped her to his back. His arms ached. His breath burned in his chest, but he climbed. For hours. Through sharp ice, through freezing wind, through hail that left bruises. Halfway up, a rock slide nearly took them both. Elliot shielded her with his body, stones smashing against his back. His skin bled, but he didn't stop. "I'm not losing you," he whispered. At the top, they reached the old gate, a stone wall with glowing blue carvings. It didn't open at his touch, but when he pressed Alara's hand to the symbol at the center, the stones shook. The gate opened with a groan, revealing a narrow path into the heart of the mountain. Inside, it was warm. Soft light glowed from the walls. Strange plants grew along the edges. The sound of water echoed in the distance. Elliot followed the path until he reached it, the spring of Telnar, a pool of glowing blue water, still and calm, waiting. He stepped into it, holding Alara close. The moment her body touched the water, the pool shined with bright violet light. Suddenly her eyes opened wide and she gasped for air. The poison, gone. The spring had accepted her. Alara blinked, confused, then looked up at Elliot. "You carried me here?" He nodded, barely able to speak. She touched his face. "Why?" "Because," Elliot said, When I saw you on that bed, I realized I didn't care about royal laws or sacred flames. I care about you, and I wasn't going to let you die while I stood back." Alara smiled, weak but real. "You're a fool, human," he laughed. "I've been called worse." She placed her hand over his heart. "I don't want a ceremony. I don't want tradition. I just want you," Elliot whispered. "Then that's all I'll give." They sat in the warm water, surrounded by the glowing cave as if time had stopped for them. Just two souls, alien and human, who finally understood what their bond really meant. But far above the mountain, inside the palace, the conspirators were already gathering again. "He survived," one noble hissed. "They both did." "Then it's time for the final plan," another whispered. "Let them return. Let the people cheer. Then we end them both." The royal capital of Zelfar glowed brighter than ever. News had spread like fire across the galaxy. The human returned. The princess lived. The bond endured. But beneath the celebration, danger still moved in silence. In secret halls of the palace, the traitors smiled and prepared. The poison had failed. The mountain had failed. Now only one move remained: public execution disguised as justice. Their plan was simple: accuse Elliot of breaking ancient Zelfarian law, claim he used forbidden tricks to awaken the sacred flame, declare him an invader, demand his death. They believed the people would obey. They were wrong. Alara and Elliot returned to the palace as heroes. The steps of the temple plaza overflowed with cheering crowds. Aliens waved banners of flame and star. Songs were sung in 20 languages. The galaxy's most feared empress and a quiet human diplomat had become a symbol of hope. But Elliot didn't care about the crowd. He looked only at her, and she looked only at him. They had survived. Together. That night, the Great Council summoned them both to the ancient arena. Not for celebration, but judgment. Elliot stood before a row of alien nobles dressed in black and silver, the same ones who had tried to kill her, now hiding behind law. The human, one elder said, used forbidden rites to manipulate the flame of bonding. He must be punished, death by tradition. The crowd gasped. Alara stepped forward, her voice cold as steel. "You lie. He is not one of us," another noble sneered. "He has no right to bond with royalty. His kind are outsiders." Elliot turned to Alara and whispered, "You don't have to defend me. I'll leave, if that's what it takes, to keep you safe." But she shook her head. "No," she said. She stepped into the center of the arena. "I am Princess Alara of House Valoon, rightful heir of Zelfar, and I reject your judgment," the elder shouted in protest. She raised her voice louder. "You fear what we have because you cannot control it." The flame didn't choose Elliot because of tricks. It chose him because he was willing to walk away from power, and then return, for love. She turned to the crowd. "He carried me through a storm. He stood beside me when I was dying. He risked his life, not for glory, but for me." The arena was silent. Then she faced Elliot. Her voice softened. "Before all this began, I asked you a question," Elliot remembered. Those strange words whispered after the fight in the ruined hall. "What do I have to do to marry you, human?" He had never answered. Until now. He took a deep breath, stepped forward, and looked into her golden eyes. "You already did it." The crowd held its breath. "You saw me when I was no one. You listened when I didn't know what to say. You let me walk away, and you still waited. You didn't try to own me. You loved me." He reached for her hand. "And now, I choose you." The ancient flame symbol behind them burst into light once again, brighter than ever before. It formed a new shape, two stars joined by a single flame, a new bond, a new path, one not written by law, but made by love. The people roared, the nobles fell silent. They had lost. That night, under the open sky of Zelpher, Elliot and Alara stood before the galaxy, not as ruler and outsider, not as human and alien, but as equals. No grand wedding. No royal chains. Just two hands holding tightly, and one love strong enough to change worlds. Far away, on Earth, a child watched the broadcast and turned to her parents. "Mom, do you think humans can really marry aliens now?" Her mother smiled. "If they love each other enough, and why not?